This is John Fozzie coming in for Split Screen, the KBVR TV show. We are here at the Let There Be LAN 5 2014 Winter Term LAN Party. And you may have noticed that my co-host here has changed because the guy, Stefan, that was here previously is also in the tournament, so he's out there having some fun too. So we got Caesar here, right? Caesar?
Yeah, Caesar.
All right, so Caesar, why don't you give me a little heads up on, since we've already know the basics of StarCraft, why don't you tell me a little bit about what you've got going on, maybe the race you play, and then we'll jump into the next game.
All right, yeah. I'm a former Masters Terran. I used to play a lot more seriously, basically up until last summer, and I've been playing since about March 2010, up until about last summer. So I've still got a lot of fresh strategies in my mind that, especially TVT, because I am a Terran player. So this is definitely something that's right up my alley.
You see, when I played, I was a Terran player too. I like the Terran.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But
sure.
see, when I first started, I was all about locking up supply depots and being all cool with the barracks and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So you go ahead and pop ready there.
All right.
So what we got going on here is we've got, is it Cyrus?
Yeah, it's
Cyrus
Cyrus
and
versus Lezt.
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 Gotcha.
I think that's how he says it.
Do you know anything about these two players at all?
Yeah, so Lezt is a friend of mine. He goes to Oregon State. He's a history major, and he was a really good Terran player. He also used to be Masters. StarCraft 2 recently changed how they do the league segregation, made it so a lot fewer people are in Masters League. So he's dropped down to Diamond, and our opponent, I think he came down from PSU, saw an announcement that was posted about this tournament, and drove on down.
Okay, cool.
Don't know him very well. I played him, almost beat him. But not quite.
Okay. So is that who you played against recently in the tournament?
Yes, I played against Cyrus recently.
Okay, so pretty much you're gonna see maybe a little backstory into how they play and kind of see it from a different view that kind of may give you a heads up the next time you play.
Yeah, for sure.
Who knows?
Yeah, both times I saw Cyrus play, he did a fast expansion build both times. So that's what I'm expecting to see.
Who does he play?
Cyrus.
Yeah. What race does he play?
He plays Terran.
Terran. So
yeah.
they're both Terran players.
They're both Terran players.
So we watched 2 Zerg games, and now we're watching 2 Terran games. Hopefully we'll get some Protoss in here eventually at some point. Do you know anybody?
I think Protoss is all out of the tournament. No
really?
more Protoss is left.
Yeah, that's expected because Protoss is so too rich for my blood. All right, so it looks like what we're waiting on is the tournament's been stalled for a moment because the two people supposed to be playing in this next bracket are in the restroom. So we're gonna go into a little bit of a sidekick. I'm going to ask Caesar here a couple questions, maybe about his history, and then if the game starts, but between me asking him questions and the game starting, we're just going to cut that. We're going to go straight into the game, and then if Caesar feels that he must tell us his story, then we'll definitely let him do it. Does that sound like a good plan?
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's start off with you were talking about the master stuff. Let's talk a little bit more about that. What is it really that makes the difference between a master and a Padawan?
So there's sort of levels of understanding that you often see throughout StarCraft 2. The first sort of level of understanding is someone wants to make an army and kill the other person. That's the only thing they know how to do.
This guy. Yeah.
And then that's about bronze and silver. Then when you get into around Gold League, that's when people start understanding that there's such a thing as a build order, that there's a set series of things that you do.
Like a strategy.
Right, a strategy.
Okay, strategy.
That you repeat every game and you try to do it a certain way and you have a certain plan, and that's about Gold League. Platinum League is basically a little bit better version of that, a little bit better executed. Diamond League is when people start to understand the concepts of the fact that you have to keep the economy well saturated. You have to spend all of your money. You have to constantly be creating workers. Masters League is where people start understanding the concept of micro. Well, everyone understands the concept of micro, but Masters League is really where players start microing a lot more to where it has a significant impact to the game.
Okay.
It looks like we are having the game start already.
Okay, so we're gonna switch on over, and Caesar is gonna tell us exactly. It's best because they're playing Terran. You're a Terran player. This should make it almost easy to talk about this.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So do you know anything about Polar Night LE?
I'm not familiar terribly much with any of these maps. They sort of caught me by surprise.
Oh, do you think that maybe would have helped if you would have known the maps a little more?
Yeah, definitely might have.
Okay, so we previously saw Zerg. What do you do? There's some good luck. Have fun. Awesome. That is always good to have some team
Yeah.
team building going on there. So let's talk a little bit about what's the basis of Terran. What do we got here? We got these aren't drones because it's not Zerg, but
Right,
what do we
these are
got here?
SCVs.
SUVs. Okay,
Right.
and they're pretty much the same thing, right? Just they're
There are some differences. So, for instance, a drone, when it builds a building, it turns into the building.
okay.
A probe, when it builds a building, it just sets a little beacon down, and then the building warps in by itself.
Okay, and a
When
probe is the
Protoss.
yeah, Protoss.
Protoss harvester unit.
Gotcha.
And then the SCV, as we see here, when it's building, it has to be there the whole time as it's building. And so this presents some dangers, because if this SCV is exposed, and it could be killed by another player, and then this building won't be finished.
Okay. So is that a guy in a robot suit? Is that what that?
Yes. So if we click on him here, we can see a little portrait right here.
Yeah.
That's the guy inside.
He's a smoker.
Yes, he is. All right. So it looks like we have a barracks going down right here.
Okay.
And let's check up on Lezt, who's in the blue. And it looks like Lezt is going for a gas first opening. So typically, the most common kind of build is you get a barracks first. However, by getting a gas first, what this means is that he wants to get a really quick factory. For a factory, you need 150 minerals and 100 gas.
So he's really just using that barracks there to block off the door.
Right, he's using this to block off the door to prevent scouting, and he's going to plop down a factory probably right about here, right after this gets finished. So the really nice thing about this timing that he's doing is by going gas first and then the barracks, is that right as the barracks finishes, he's going to have 100 gas exactly so that he can plop down a factory right here.
And this is what you were talking about earlier with the kind of understanding the mechanics so well that you know when this is finished, you're going to have this because the timings, you've just done it so many times.
Right. And what's funny is at higher levels, the game becomes far more predictable because there are certain more optimized way to do things. So when you see someone get a gas at a certain time, then it gives you a lot of clues and tips off, because if they wouldn't have gotten that gas at a bad time because they're up in the higher league.
Right. And Stefan was talking about how I think he was Novus or Novus, N-O-V-S. Novus, I think his name. I don't know. Novus, I think. I think his name
Novs,
is.
I think
Novs. Yeah, there you
there
go.
we
See,
go.
I'm being crazy. He kept rushing the spawning pool, and so he was really, really aggressive, and then all of a sudden he wasn't aggressive, and he was
Mhm.
defensive, and it just, lots of critical thinking. So, rushed gas means he wants to get a factory, and see, he's just, there's this factory you were talking about.
Yep. And it looks like Cyrus here went for a Reaper. And so this is one of the dangers when going for this build, is your barracks is a bit slower, and you're only going to have one Marine to protect yourself. And a Reaper versus one Marine, one-on-one, the Reaper will win every time.
But he's got his SUVs chasing him out.
Right. And it looks like he was able to fend him off here.
Okay.
So it looks like he's making Marines and a Hellion. I expect to see a factory go down here somewhat soonish. Ah. Here's the starport. So what he's going to be doing is a proxy Banshee. So a Banshee is a flying unit that can only shoot air to ground. It also can have an ability research cloak so that you can't attack it unless you have detection in the form of turrets. He's hiding it over here, relatively close to the opponent's base so that he can get there faster, so that there's less of a chance that Cyrus is going to have time to have a turret up.
Okay. Because he doesn't quite know what's going on.
Right. So we can take a look at Cyrus's vision, and this is what he sees right now. He does know that there are two gases. So if I were him, I would definitely be suspecting Banshee if I saw a reactor on the barracks and an empty factory. And especially the fact that this factory is empty and he was in there this late and he didn't see a starport go down, I would be, if I were him, looking for a proxy starport. Reason being, because the second you put down the factory, that's when you should put down the starport, just in terms of efficiency, because that's the best time to do it. You'll have what you need right away to go ahead and do it. And so he went ahead and scanned right here to see what was going on.
That's what that picture was. Okay.
Right. So what was happening is the command center has an ability called Scanner Sweep, and it's basically free map hacks. That's what I like to call it.
Getting rid of the sheep. Black
Right.
sheep wall gone.
So he
Let's
used
see how
that
many people
ability.
get that joke.
So he used that ability as just to check out what's going on here, and he did not see that starport. So he already has an engineering bay going up, and he's making a turret here because he is expecting that. And I'm assuming he's making a Viking here. Yep. So he is expecting this Banshee that's coming here.
And the Viking is an air-to-air.
Right, the Viking is an air-to-air unit, but it can also transform and be a ground-to-ground.
Ah, okay. So it's a
So,
robot in
see,
disguise.
it looks like that Banshee almost got there in time, but the Viking is there along with the turret to go ahead and fend that off.
So that's a failed strategy. So what does he do now?
Alright, so right now, the best thing to do is there are 2 bases, so he can still try to harass with the Banshee. He can try to basically pick off, go to places wherever there is not detection. And by detection, it's for Terran, it is either this turret or the scanner sweep. That scanner sweep that you saw earlier also gives you detection.
Okay.
But you have to have energy on the command center in order to do
The
that.
purple bar.
Right. So Cyrus right now is pulling a turret right here to protect his production line. Because one of the common practices, once you fail Banshee with the worker line, is you want to go for the production, just sort of sit over what's happening here. And that's what he's trying to do right now. And just kill units as they come out. And so at the same time,
What unit is that?
so this is a Hellion. These are,
That's what people used against the Zerglings.
yes. So these units are really good against ground
Okay.
units, or against the light units.
And
So
people, you might hear the word Halion and think, devil, fire, hell. Well, that's exactly what they do. They blow
Right.
fire, right?
That's exactly what they do.
In a bunker. Bunker
Yeah,
secret.
so this bunker is also really common, especially when you're doing this quick expand. And this was what I was talking about earlier. Cyrus does really like to get that expansion down. In comparison, Lezt is still working on his because of how much money he invested into this.
The
And he's still making Banshees, so he's still trying to get something done with them. We can go ahead and take a look how many workers he's killed. So he's killed 6 workers. That's quite not quite enough for how much you want, how much of a payoff you want from the Banshees. You want to have at least 10 to 12 for it to be worth it. So if we look at the units tab here, we can see that Cyrus is ahead by 5 SCVs. And since he has this command center already up, and he has mules dropping for both command centers, and mules another ability, it's basically a super SCV. It gathers minerals a lot faster.
It's those big yellow things you keep seeing in the
Right.
fields, right?
Right. And so he's just going to keep gaining the advantage on the economy because he was able to deflect this Banshee so well. And all of that was because he was able to scout what's going on here, identify the lack of a starport, and prepare for that adequately.
All right, so here's a question then. We were looking at things a little earlier with the Banshees going down and how he threw up his turrets and stuff. But now it seems that he's got a group of Marines and was it a tank?
Yeah, that looks like
Oh,
that
looks
was a
like
tank.
that didn't really work out to his favor, did it?
No, it did not. He was caught out of position. Cyrus already had 2 tanks ready to go there, and he had the larger tank count and more Marines to begin with. So he was all set for that.
And the Hellions were in there too, just ready to take out
Right.
the Marines.
And so the reason that you often see Vikings with these kinds of pushes is because tanks have 12 range, but they only have a vision range of 9. So they can't see as far as they can shoot. So if you have Vikings, you can use those to gain more vision, so you can see further and so you can shoot further. So what you'll often see in TVTs that go on to a longer game is the fact that basically there will be 2 tank lines that are spread out, and both of them are trying to sort of inch forward, get in range of the other tanks, and kill them off. And in order to see those other tanks, if you have the air superiority, then you'll be able to have more vision, so you'll be able to kill the tanks more easily. So you often see sort of a Viking battle as a result.
All right, so what? I don't. The Banshees, the whole Banshee thing is pretty much over then, huh?
Yeah, he already went ahead and floated, floated this guy back here. You do notice that he is missing a bit of health there. That's because these Vikings were shooting at it as it was floating back here.
Okay.
You can see that this tech lab is still left over here. And actually, a fun fact, Cyrus can land something on this tech lab, and then the tech lab will be his.
Oh, that is a pretty cool fact. But he first would have to find the tech lab.
Right, right. And it does not seem like he's aware of it.
Yep, not yet.
Nope.
That's okay. So it looks like he's going into the expansion base with his siege tanks and.
Yeah, it looks like this game is pretty close to being over. He has a good contain setup right here. Cyrus already has a 3rd base set up and going. He actually doesn't have as much of an SCV lead as I would expect. He has 51 to 50 SCVs, especially with 3 bases. I would expect him to be at around 70 right now. So I'm wondering whether we missed some worker killing. No, it's still only 10 workers. So it just looks like he's not producing enough SCVs right there.
Maybe he's concentrating a little bit too much on what's going down here.
Yeah, that's probably true, and that's sort of the thing that you'll often see that Grandmaster players are a lot better at. They'll be able to do all of this battling stuff, but then produce constantly at the same time, and
Yeah,
sort
see,
of
I
pull
always
that multitasking aspect of it.
right. Well, see, one of the things I always had issues with is I'd always like forget about my mules, or I'd like let my energy build up, or I'd stop producing SUVs, or I'd always have like money built up and saved for some road reason. Like, I guess I'll save it for this barracks. I mean, I don't really need a barracks, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a barracks.
Yeah, what often happens is when you have a lot of money and you don't know what to do with it, you build a bunch of buildings, but then you realize you don't have the income to build out of all of them.
Yeah, now you just have a bunch of buildings and nothing really to get out of them.
Right.
Like, I like to use the medics and a bunch of marines. That's one of the strategies I like to use, and just go in there with a bunch of crazy upgraded marines with the medics flying after behind them. I don't know if you've ever used that before, but
Yeah, for sure. That sounds like a Brood War strategy. So
yeah. See, I
yeah.
I played a lot more old school StarCraft.
Right. Yeah,
instead of-
StarCraft 1
Yeah.
and the Brood War expansion.
I mean, like I said, I got into StarCraft 2, and then I was like, I played like a couple of games, and I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm like, I'm getting the whatever kicked out of me. I mean, like there were roaches come at me, and I was like, okay, I don't really understand this, so I'm gonna pull out some tanks, and I'm like, okay. And then there was like new units, and I was like, okay, now I'm just totally confused. So I did what you said. I looked up some stuff on YouTube and was trying to be all like, oh, I'm trying to figure it out, and pretty much what I got was just a bunch of strategies that really didn't make a lot of
Yeah,
full-fledged sense.
it's hard to make sense of strategies when you don't sort of understand all of the units completely. I think the best way to go before you start looking on YouTube and before looking at all those strategies is sort of play the game and get a feel for every unit. Play
Well, I
as
love the
every race.
campaigns. I mean, that was what I did with the game. I bought it, played the campaign pretty much.
Right, yeah. The campaigns are really good.
Yeah,
Are we ready to go?
We're ready to go.
All right.
And while we're getting this set up, I just want to remind everybody that we are here at OSU in the ballroom. I'm here with Caesar, right?
Yep.
And we are at the Let There Be Land 5 2004 Winter Term LAN Party. God, that is such a mouthful. And we're going to be here all night long and into tomorrow and just watching a bunch of crazy stuff. So right now we are watching StarCraft 2 going from the quarterfinals into the semifinals. Right now we got one win for Cyrus, and this is the second game. If he wins, he goes on. If he loses, then they fight again. So here we go, bringing it into the game. Let's do this.
All right, so it looks like they're spawned on the opposite locations of this map. Top left here, we have Lezt in the blue trunks. And the bottom right, my bad, we have Cyrus as the purple Terran. And we're not quite at the stage to see what they're going to be doing yet. One thing that I'm always curious to see, though, is whether Terrans will use that first depot to wall off. And we do see that he's going to be rallying that SCV, so he's going to be putting that there. Because generally the most important reason to wall off is against a Zerg. Because that allows you to prevent all of the Zergling run-bys, and you can defend your entire base with just a couple of Marines, even if you have
Because they can't get to him.
Right.
There's no range from his.
Right, exactly, because they all have melee units. What we're seeing here actually is interesting. He put the depot right here. Now, if you'll notice, this depot has its range, so it sees the ramp exactly. So basically, what he wants to do right here is he wants to be able to see the ramp, which is sometimes often the purpose in the TVT of having the depot, but he doesn't want to wall it off. And so it might seem strange sometimes, why wouldn't you want to wall off that ramp? Like, well, what if units come up it? So the thing is, in TVT, tanks are always a big deal. And if he gets set up with a contain in here, if he has units here, then there will be a choke, so the tanks will be able to do more splash damage. If that is open, then he will have more room to maneuver if he gets in that sort of position.
Okay. So that means that just guessing then, he's probably going to try to go for something with tanks then.
No, what that means is he's worried if he gets attacked with tanks.
Ah,
right.
Okay.
So it's a defensive measure of sorts.
Okay. And then we got the Vespene gas rush again from, was it Lezt?
Lezt. Yeah.
Yeah, gamer tags, man.
This is
it's like Chinese.
He's actually built the barracks first this time. So they both have the barracks at a similar timing. They both got a barracks and then a gas afterwards. So it looks like we're going to be seeing a different build. And he's making Marines right off the bat, so he's probably going to be going to a factory anyway since he's getting this gas, but he does want to get it a bit later, so he's not rushing for that Banshee
Okay.
like he was previously. Looks like Cyrus, in the meantime, is going for a Reaper, and he's probably going to expand right here after he gets a couple Reapers out. So yeah, he's getting a reactor right after that Reaper, and meanwhile, Lezt is getting that factory, as I was talking about. Probably going to see a reactor pop down right here. There it is.
It's almost like science.
It is a science.
It is.
It is.
It is.
Alright, so it looks like Lezt is not getting the second gas yet. So what this indicates to me is he might be doing a Marine Hellion medevac drop. And that is a build that requires only one gas because you don't need as much gas. The only thing you need gas for is to build the factory, to build the starport, and to get a medevac. And so that's 300 gas total, and you can mine that off of one gas.
Okay.
And see if we're going to be seeing... Nope, I was wrong. So what he's actually doing is a Hellion expand.
So he switched them out so that
Right, so he switched them out. Now he's going to produce 2 Hellions at once, and then at the same time he made an expansion right here. In the meantime, Cyrus already has an expansion started earlier, and this reactor that we saw him build earlier is already pumping out dual Marines. And he's building a factory. So he's a bit more ahead on the economy, but a bit behind on tech because he doesn't have the factory yet. Meanwhile, Lezt is a bit behind in the economy, but he's a bit ahead in the factory. And that's always the sort of the balance that you have to play in a TVT, is what's more important to you, tech or economy. And whenever you do invest in tech, the purpose of that tech is to go ahead and kill off some workers so you can equalize the economy and sort of get an advantage out of it.
So he's going to push in then.
Right, so these 2 Hellions, he's going to go in here and try to see what he can do. And so right now Cyrus is putting up a bunker, and he has 4 Marines and a Reaper. So these will be able to take care of 2 Hellions. However, 4 Hellions, once they come out, they would be able to break this, but I do think that this bunker is going to be up in time before that happens. Now what he can do is he can go right past the bunker and try to attack the SCV line right here and try to get some of those kills. For instance, if you were coming right now, all those SCVs are nice and lined up, so he could get some really nice Hellion shots off on fire on all those.
But he looks like he's got some Hellions of his own too.
Yeah, it looks like Cyrus is also producing some Hellions. And
so is there a ratio when it's like same unit versus same unit? Is there whoever attacks first probably has the upper hand kind of thing?
So with Hellions, what's more important is the alignment, because Hellions do area of effect damage in a straight line. So when you're attacking Hellions versus Hellions, you don't want your Hellions to be in a straight line. And so both players are sort of juggling that same idea, that you don't want your Hellions to be in a straight line. And so whoever gets the shots off at the better angle is who's going to have the upper hand.
Okay. That's I think I saw is it Vulture? Is that what they're called?
This is a Viking.
Viking.
So right now you see that he's patrolling this right here because he is expecting a medevac with Hellions since he saw those Hellions. And because of what he saw was happening, this is sort of what I was thinking might happen. And so he's preparing for it by patrolling this Viking here. And it looks like Lezt, this is what he's going to be trying to do. He's going to try to put those Hellions into that medevac and lift them up here. And so that is the precise reason why this Viking is right here, to go ahead and try to stop that. These Marines in the meantime,
Marines, yeah.
Right. So this is sort of a micro battle that we're seeing here right now. And he does have this bunker here, so Lezt will not be able to get through this.
Oh, he's trying to pull it up into the bunker.
Yeah.
So if he were not paying attention, that could have been the end of his little Marine party there.
Yeah, that's definitely a lot of ways. Sometimes I lose my units. Is I won't have them on hold position. Something will attack them. They'll want to retaliate, and then they go and die.
Vengeful spirits. Yeah, I mean that's probably a mistake that, I've made a billion times.
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't
a mistake
even know there was
everyone
a
makes.
hold
It's a
command.
mistake professional players make.
Yeah. I mean, I've watched a lot of professional games and stuff like that, and trying to understand the thought process of people. And the funny thing is, these kind of games I'm not as not into as I want to be. But then, like, if you throw something like World of Warcraft or Rift or any of those heavy MMOs, like that's where I thrive. So I mean, I guess it just depends on the gamer.
So it looks like he did go ahead and get these Hellions dropped. Let's see if he's going to be able to do any damage. He's killed 5 workers. So that wasn't quite worth it. Reason being, 4 Hellions. Each Hellion costs 100 minerals. So that's 400 minerals that he lost. Each worker costs 50 minerals, plus technically potential future economy gain. So maybe a little bit more, but so that's about 250 just the worker costs. So it wasn't terrible, but it didn't quite pay off.
It wasn't flawless.
Right.
Then it looks like, so is he now committed then to this this strategy?
So right now what he's doing is trying to harass while he's because he does know that he's behind on the economy. His command center was a bit later, so he's trying to get back on even footing, while at the same time making an army and trying to get his own stuff going, get his own economy going. But in the meantime, looks like Cyrus is going ahead and pushing in here, and this is not looking good for Lezt because Cyrus flat out has more units right now and a better economy.
And that second base is just taking a beating.
Yeah, it is. It is actually a pretty common mistake, though, to try to attack this, the base, when you're not sure if you're going to be able to kill it off, because it's always usually more worth it to kill these SCVs off, because they're a lot smaller targets and they're guaranteed damage. And so right now, Lezt was able to hold that back, though Cyrus is coming back with a tank, so this push has not yet ended. But because he was attacking this instead of these SCVs, Lezt actually has more SCVs right now. Looks like Cyrus was not paying attention to building SCVs. Right there, we saw a little gap there. But he does have a third base going down right here, so that does give him home more mules potentially. He's supposed to have more mules, but now they have equal SCV counts.
So the command center for the Terran, it can also transform into something else, right? Not just a satellite?
Right, so it can also transform into a planetary fortress, and that's basically a giant ground-to-ground cannon.
Which is can be considered pretty useful when starting up a new base, right?
So generally, planetary fortresses are put on the fourth base and on. So it's that's why you generally see it later into the game. Because fourth base and on, those are the bases where it's going to be a lot harder to defend those by yourself and constantly have units there at the ready. Your units are probably going to want to be somewhere else. So you're going to put planetary fortress on them, so the planetary fortress can delay whatever is attacking it long enough for your units to get there.
Oh, and it looks like somebody just canceled something, and
Yeah, so it looks like Lezt was building something right there, but because of the attack, he canceled it, so he didn't lose the money. If you don't cancel it and it gets destroyed, the money that you invested into it is gone.
it's just gone.
Right.
Is there a fee that happens? Like you put certain amount of minerals into it, and then you lose it?
Right, so if you cancel it, you'll get 75% of your minerals back.
Okay.
So you lose 25%.
So it looks like we finished it up. It's that was Cyrus won both.
Yeah, 2-0.
Yep. So that is the end of that, and that was only a 14-minute game. Doing pretty good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a little chill pill real quick. Just a quick reminder: this is John with Split Screen out of KBVR, and we are going to take a short little break, and then we're gonna come back and. We'll probably still have Caesar with us for a little bit.
Yep.
Yep, and then we're going to probably go into another game. So, like I said, this is John with Split Screen, and we're down here at the OSU Ballroom at the Let There Be Land 2014 Winter Term LAN Party. So, we'll be back. All right, we are back. We are back at OSU. We are in the ballroom. We are having a great time. Are we not, Caesar?
Totally.
All right, so Caesar's here with me because we're watching some StarCraft 2 stuff. He's helping me out, teaching me some stuff. We're totally going, we're just having a great time, are we not?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've learned stuff that I never even knew. Like, who knows, I could be the next master. You never know. I doubt it, though. Anyway, so we are here at OSU in the ballroom, like I said. I'm John Fosdick, and I'm here for Split Screen for KBVR. We are here covering the Let There Be LAN 5 2014 Winter Term LAN Party. God, like I spent so long memorizing that. You have no
I'm
idea.
impressed. I
Like,
can do that.
I still have to use my fingers to make sure I got it all. All right, so Caesar, we are ready. You can tell the guys that we are ready to go.
All right.
And what we're going to do here, just in case you're just joining us, is Caesar's here. He's actually one of the competitors. He was playing earlier. He knows pretty good amount of what's going on. I'd probably say he's up there in the brain trust when it comes to what's going on here right now. And he's going to just bring all the information he can. He's going to throw it at you. He might, I don't know, make soup or something. I don't know. But you're going to find out what's going on here tonight with StarCraft 2. Here we go. Loading screen. Polar Night LE. Same map as last time.
Yeah, this was the same map as the first map in the previous match.
Oh yeah, because
looks to be a popular map. I've seen it played a lot tonight.
Yeah, I think Stefan, the guy that was here earlier, was talking about they do like an order. So maybe that's why.
Yeah. So what they do is I think there's 7 maps total in the pool.
Okay.
So each player vetoes 2 maps, and then they have 3 maps left, and then the player with the higher standing is going to go ahead and pick the first map, and then the loser picks the next map from there on out.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so this is who's that?
So this is Cyrus. This is who we saw play in the previous match. He's a Terran player.
Roger.
And the bottom right, this is Muffin Man, and he's a Zerg player.
Okay.
So Muffin is also a friend of mine. He usually plays random, so he's really good with all 3 races, which is an impressive feat on its own.
Yeah, because Stefan was saying most people just focus. They focus on a
right,
single
yeah.
race.
Most people have a general idea how to play a single race. I focus on Terran. I could do Protoss and Zerg sort of decently.
Well, it's good to know your opponent, like
right. It actually helps a lot understanding the opponent, especially when you're scouting them. Then you'll be able to know what they see, and you also sort of see it from their perspective. Like if you scout something, you know what you have to react. So it sort of prepares your mind for just that back and forth thought process of thinking 5 steps ahead of your opponent.
The mind battle.
The
mind battle. All right, so what do we got going on here? Let's see if I think we've given enough time to kind of understand what kind of tactic we're going, what kind of builds we're starting for. Looks like we got an Overlord heading out.
Yeah, so right now,
second base.
This is very standard. This is the most standard thing to do in ZVT, Zerg versus Terran, is this just going straight away for that 15 hatch. And 15 hatch means that he did it at 15 supply, so he did it with his 15th drone. The reason that this Overlord is here is because this hatch on its own does not have any vision, so it couldn't see outside of, say, around these borders.
Okay.
So what a Terran player could do is just put a bunker right here, and the Zerg player wouldn't be able to see it. And then you could just put Marines in the bunker, and then basically the game is over. So this Overlord is here, and he gives vision to the surrounding area to make sure that that doesn't happen.
Okay.
And so on the other hand, this Overlord here is going to this side of the map so that he can do about a 6 or 7 minute timing when he's going to bring that Overlord into this main base and just check out what's going on in here.
This is a little bit of a scouting party.
Right.
Okay. What is going on here?
So right now this is actually fairly interesting. Most of the time in Zerg versus Terran, you go for a very quick expand as a Terran as well. And it looks like that is what's going to end up happening here. So this is the same thing that he was doing against the Terran player, actually. He went for a Reaper, then he built a Reactor, and then he built a Command Center.
So that's 3 games in a row.
Yeah. So what is interesting, actually, is that he chose to build the Command Center here on the high ground instead of here on the low ground. The reason for that is he only has that 1 Reaper. And if that 1 Reaper is not here, and a couple Zerglings come,
bam,
they could basically kill that Command Center, and it wouldn't be able to complete building.
Yeah, because you were talking about earlier that most Terran players have to worry about that Zergling rush.
Right.
That's why they lock themselves in.
Right, and also I was saying earlier, this SCV constantly has to, whatever it's building, the SCV has to be there.
Right.
So if the Zerglings just kill off that SCV, they have free reign over the Command Center.
Yep, and it just floats. It's just a garbage pile. It's waiting to be destroyed.
Yep, that's a waste of 400 minerals.
Yep. And we don't want to waste our minerals, do we?
Nope, that is inefficient. StarCraft 2 is, at its core, a game of efficiency, how you can be most efficient in doing everything.
You don't know how nerdy I wanted to be there. Like, your logic is not sound, Captain Kirk. No. Good times. Good times. Yeah, so we got the quick expansion for the second base for the Zerg here. You got the, Stefan was calling the Queen kind of like, what do you call it, like the adrenaline. It's like it just hyper carries the craziness out of the spawner. For it helps you just mass produce stuff.
Right. So each race kind of has a macro mechanic, and macro refers to the production capabilities of the race.
So
and
the Queen for the Zerg, the SUV kind of yellow thingy. What was it called
the mule.
The mule.
Right.
Yeah.
So that is right. That is the Terran macro ability. And then for the Protoss players, there's Chrono Boost, which basically speeds up any production that they choose.
Oh, okay. Which we haven't got to see. We probably won't see because I think.
Yeah, there's no more Protoss players in the tournament, unfortunately.
Did you see any good Protoss players tonight?
No, I do know one good Protoss player. He didn't make it tonight. He does tend to be very angry when he loses, though.
Ah.
He which makes him fun to watch.
Oh, okay.
Those players are always fun to watch when they're really angry.
Yeah, sometimes I kind of wish there was audio, like that we could kind of, or something like like a needle or something goes into the brain of the players. We can kind of hear. Oh no, there's the Zerglings, you know.
Right.
So what do we got going on? We got Hellions for protect against the Zerglings.
Right. So what movement was going for here is sometimes you can catch the Terran player off guard. Ooh. So right there, that is a Widow Mine just got 7 kills. So Widow Mines are a new unit in Heart of the Swarm, and they basically go in the ground and they shoot missiles. Once this little charger comes down, they can shoot a missile, and it does a lot of area of effect damage.
So kind of like the Baneling kind of area effect damage.
Right. There's a little bit more than the mainling, I think, actually, and just goes in the ground. So the Zerg player actually can't see this because it's buried in the ground, unless he has vision.
Which Zergs can only get from Overseers.
Right. Overseers or Spore Crawlers.
Right, but you're not going to have Spore Crawlers in the enemy
Right.
base. That would be crazy. All right, so we got the what's he got there? 6
So
Marines
he's got 6 Marines
Widowmine.
and the Widow Mine. Right. So it looks like he's going for a drop back here, and we do see it queued up already to go back here.
And so he's just going to come and try and drop it right in the middle of his workers and probably throw that Widowmine down.
Yeah. So let's watch that Widow Mine, see if it gets any good hits off. Oh, so Muffin actually got lucky there. It only killed a couple of drones. That could have been a lot worse for him. So in the meantime, there's also an attack going on this front. So it's sort of a dual-pronged attack. We've got these 2 queens defending here, and at the same time, we've got these Marines attacking here. So he's really testing the multitasking of Muffin here. And so he's not injecting his larva. So all of being forced to do that is going to get him behind on his economy because he's not getting those injects in.
It was almost like he sacrificed the Marines and the little Widowmine just to cause that confusion.
Right. And, I mean, he also did a lot of damage with that as well. If we take a look at how many workers are killed here, there are 14 workers killed. So he's done a lot of damage already this early into the game.
Just a few Marines and a Widowmine. Widowmines, are they expensive?
Widow Mines, I don't actually recall the exact cost. Let's look here. Yeah, there's 75 minerals and 25 gas. So fairly relatively inexpensive for how much damage can do. There's actually been a lot of complaints about how cheap they are based on what they can actually do.
So is there a counter for it?
Yes. So the counter for it is what you have to do is you have to send in 1 unit at a time if you don't have detection, and you know that it's there. You send in one unit, so it only explodes on that 1 unit, and then it can't shoot anything else for 30 seconds. It can only shoot once per 30 seconds, and then it has a cooldown.
So it's invisible after it explodes?
No. So you still have to get vision, so you still would have to get a Spore Crawler. So it's generally a good idea, for instance, to put Spore Crawlers back here if you're seeing this happen. So see, this is why the Spore Crawler right here is there. That's exactly why, just to get vision for that Widow Mine right there, and that's what I believe that that Queen was just got done killing. So it looks like Muffin Man is going for a Spire right here, so you can get those Mutalisks out. Yep. Mutalisks are a really important part of ZVT.
He really used Mutalisks a lot in the last game.
Yeah, Muffin is a big fan of Mutalisk. He really enjoys playing with them, and he's really good with them too. And so we can see right here, there are a bunch of Widow Mines that are laid out across here. And we see this double medevac drop just heading to the back here, and that's going to go right back here. There is a Spore Crawler there, though, so that can do some, but actually it's just going to completely bypass and drop right here. And at the same time, he's also got this going on, but he does have an Overseer here, so if you can see, but he's not bringing it along. Ooh, those did a lot of damage there, but he's going to be able to clean those up. And it looks like he was able to clean this up as well. Still 20 workers killed, though. And if we look at the income right here, the Terran player has 60 workers, and the Zerg player has 46. So actually, typically at this stage of the game, it is expected for the Zerg player to have more workers. But he doesn't. So Muffin is really far behind right now. Things are not looking good for him, even though he has 3 bases.
Well, I hope it's not the fact that he knows he's being recorded on television that's causing him the issue. Because he seemed pretty excited about us joining in on his game. So, I guess let's hope the pressure doesn't get to him. But we got 2 games with him, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. This Cyrus guy doesn't seem to be too shabby, though. He seems to know his what he's going on. He's got a completely different build than last time. Though he's using those Widow Mines. Definitely.
Yeah, he's got really good Widow Mine usage, spreading them out nice and well.
Yeah,
That way you can have the most coverage no matter where the Zerg goes. There's no way to bypass them if he doesn't have vision of those Widow Mines.
and with the Zerg always huddling up like this, I mean, Widow Mines is almost like the perfect thing. And then
Yeah.
having Hellions behind them, I mean,
Yeah.
it's almost like, why do that? I mean, that explains why he's going for Mutalisks, but
Well, Widow Mines work very well against Mutalisks as well, so that's another thing that you have to watch out
so
for.
they can attack air.
Right.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So in Brood War, you had the Spider Mines from the Vultures, and those couldn't attack air. Widow Mines can attack workers, air, anything that goes near them. It can explode. They also do friendly fire damage, though.
Oh, so there's a little bit of drawback.
Right. So, for instance, if there were a Widow Mine right here, and he attacked with Zerglings, and the Widow Mine exploded on the Zerglings that were near the Marines will get damaged as well. So right now we see Muffin trying to get back in this game by doing some damage with those Mutalisks, and he was able to kill 11 SCVs. So it's definitely a way to get started to get back in there. But Cyrus is preparing well by building turrets in sort of a ring around his base here. Looks like Muffin Man is trying to take out this armory. Now the armory, the armory serves two purposes here. First of all, it lets these upgrade facilities for infantry go up to levels 2 and 3.
Okay.
Second of all, it allows for the production of Thors, which does require a factory. Oh, it looks looks like we missed some there.
That's all right. That's
Yeah.
all right. It's not going to hurt anything.
Yeah, it looks like that game was over. There was just a push there, and Muffin Man was not able to hold on.
Well, I guess that means we're going to have to find out what's going to happen in round 2. Did you expect Moving Man to get smacked around like that?
It looks like Cyrus is a really good. He knows really well how to abuse the Terran powers, especially looks against Zerg. I would say that his Terran versus Zerg is a lot stronger than his Terran versus Terran, and
Okay.
I would expect him to win game 2 again.
So do you think Muffin's going to play Zerg again?
Yes. Well, the rules do say that you have to choose the race and you have to stick with it.
Oh, I did not know that because Stefan was talking about him rolling random. So
Yeah, Muffin does like to roll random, but it looks like he chose Zerg because that is his best race of the random races.
okay. So with this game done, finished, do you think there's anything Muffin Man could have learned or seen that he could maybe change up in his beginning strategy to try to come at Sirius a little different?
So what really happened there is Muffin Man did not handle all of the harassment that was thrown at him well. He got those 22 drone kills, and he was not able to deal with it, so he got behind in economy. And really the most important part for a Zerg and a Zerg versus Terran is to really get ahead in that economy and then just start rolling masses of units out. And because Cyrus was able to get in there at that crucial phase where the Zerg needs to get his economy up, Muffin simply didn't have the units to deal with it. And because he was also distracted, he also didn't inject. So basically it comes down to better multitasking.
Better multitasking. Okay, so just to give everybody a reminder, we're just waiting for the next game to start up. I'm just going to remind you guys that I'm John Fosdick, and I'm here with Caesar. And this is for Split Screen, which is the new TV show here at OSU. We're going through KBVR. KBVR. Wow. Anyway, and we are here at the Let
There Be LAN.
Yeah, Let There Be. See it now. Just Let There Be Land 5, 2014 Winter Term LAN Party. God, I've said it like 20 times today, and just there, I just went blank. I was thinking about food. I think I don't know. I'm a gamer. It's crazy. Food is good. All right, so
I agree.
we are ready, and we're gonna head into this strong and hard, and hopefully, Muffin Man will hit the victory, so that we have a third round before we cut and go and show you a little bit more of what's going on here tonight at the LAN party.
Well, this looks like the map is going to be heavy rain.
Do you know this map?
I unfortunately don't know any of these maps very well.
These pictures are ridiculous. The little avatars. Like
Yeah, I think the right avatar was a Nerdy Rainer, which was an avatar that was gotten in a back-to-school achievement. I don't remember what that was about.
Back to school. Back to school. That's such a good movie. Anyway, so it's once again Terran versus Zerg. Can't change it. And you just let me know when you notice what's happening. I mean, it looks like we got a little bit of activity in the bottom. Somebody's scouting, but it doesn't.
So this is the Overlord. So I was talking about this in the previous game. So this Overlord, you always want to send it out so that you can use it to scout later on. So this Overlord is going to go right back here, and he's just going to wait until he can get in here and see what's going on. And that's just, you know, seeing what's going on for your opponent will allow you to make the correct decisions and try to counter what he's doing.
Right.
And so actually it's pretty standard for Terran players to patrol Marines around this area just so that Overlord can't get him.
Because once he attacks, then you try to roll the Overlord out because he's slow.
Right.
Right.
And they actually made the Overlord faster in a recent patch,
Oh.
just because of that reason.
Yeah, because the Overlord seems kind of almost whimsical. He's a little goofy for a supply thing. Like, you keep seeing the supply depots, and then for the Protoss, which we haven't seen tonight, but they have their pylons, right? Their
Right.
little crystal. Both of those supplies are pretty much, they don't go anywhere. They just sit in one spot. But the Overlord is kind of special because I'm pretty sure it evolves into an Overseer, which can see detected. Are they still allowed to pick up team members and carry them?
So there is an upgrade that costs 200. It's called Pneumatic Carapace, and that allows the Overlords to pick up 8 slots of units within them.
Okay, and I also believe, don't they have a thing where they kind of puke out creep too? I've seen
Right.
a couple of games where people will set their what are they called? I'm blanking. Overseers? Overseers. Yeah, they'll set them in like this row, and then when they're ready to go in for that rush, they'll just puke all at the same time, and then
So the Overseers actually can't do the puking. It's actual Overlords that'll do that.
oh, okay.
And the Overlords are able to puke, as you so eloquently called it. They're able to puke after the Zerg has an evolution chamber.
Okay.
And that puts down creep, and Zerg units move faster on creep, so it gives them obviously an advantage. So if there's
Do they
creep,
also heal on creep?
no, that healing depends on the unit. Zerg units sort of heal passively in general over time if they're not in combat.
Oh, okay.
I don't think the creep affects that, but I'm not 100% sure.
Maybe that's just an older StarCraft thing.
It might be. It might be.
It's possible. Okay, so what do we got going on with the Zerg here?
So right now, we see just a typical build here from Muffin just the same thing as last time. You got this hatchery first, and then you got this this extractor and this spawning pool. We are seeing this Reaper trying to do a little bit of harass. He does have 1 kill on him so far, and he's trying to get a little bit more damage for these drones right here. But he's going to be chased out by those links. And we're seeing the same exact build, the factory after the barracks. So he built the barracks, he built the Reaper, then he built the reactor, then he built this the command center, then he built the factory. Looks like that's just what he's comfortable with, and he's sticking to it, and it's working out well for him.
And so far, nothing's really changed.
Yeah, it looks like the same thing on a different map so far. The Reaper, it looks like it is getting a little bit more damage and still just at 1 kill. But every time that Muffin does have to focus on this Reaper, he might be neglecting his economy. It looks like he's still on top of that. 25 energy right here is what you need to inject. So right now, he should be injecting, and there he goes. And there he goes with the second queen. It looks like he's building a third queen right here. That's probably going to be to put creep tumors down right here so he can go ahead and spread out that creep all over the map. It's really crucial for a Zerg player to spread his creep because it's a big advantage that Zerg players have. Wherever you have creep, you will and creep tumors, you will have vision. So it's basically free vision of the map. And your units will also move faster, so you'll be able to get around everywhere faster.
Gotcha.
No reason not to do it.
Yeah. Does it cost anything for a tumor to make
Nope,
another tumor?
just energy. For tumors, to build another tumor doesn't cost anything, you just do it.
Oh, so you just got to remember to do it.
Yep. That's all it takes.
Well, that's good to know, but they start the tumors.
Right, the queen has to start the first tumor, then this tumor creates another tumor, then that tumor will create another tumor, and so on and so forth.
So what you're telling me, like, if I put it this logically, is that a queen, or a girl, can cause a tumor. And once that girl causes that tumor, those tumors continue to replicate until there's creep all over your brain, and you don't know what to do, and things go crazy, and you just lose. No more tournament.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Your best chance is to hope you have an orbital command center somewhere in your brain so you can go ahead and scan that tumor and clear it out.
Yeah.
Tumors, just like widow mines or other burrowed units or invisible units, are not visible without detection. So
the
it's
tumors are
either a
protected.
turret or a scan. Right.
Gotcha.
So from the point of view of the Terran player, he will not be able to see this structure or this structure or this structure unless he has vision of it.
All right, and is there any unit that can move with the Terran that causes detection?
Yes, there is a unit called the Raven. It's a flying unit that's built from the starport, and it requires a tech lab on the starport.
Is that anything like observator? Maybe that's Protoss something. It's like
Yeah,
a big orb-looking thing.
Are you thinking about the science vessel?
Is that it?
Yeah,
Science
the
vessel?
Terran had a science vessel. It serves a similar role to the science vessel.
Okay.
The science vessel is a bit different, has a bit different spells. The Raven has the following spells: has a point defense drone, which is basically a drone that you put down and it blocks projectiles for a set of limited time.
So it's like a robotic flare, perhaps.
Sort of, yeah. Then the other thing that a Raven can do is an auto turret. So just plop down a weak little turret, so you can just plop those down behind workers and just use that for harassment.
Okay.
And its final ability, that it's probably arguably the most powerful ability for the Raven, is Secret Missile. So a Secret Missile is a giant area of attack missile. But it is slow, so there is time to micro out of the way and try to sort of move your units. And the unit that is targeted turns red, so you know which one's going to be targeted. So it becomes sort of a micro battle at that point.
You can just move him away from the rest of your
Right,
guys.
so that the other people won't take damage. But if you're not paying attention, and if you're in a multitasking, it's not good enough, you won't be able to do that. So it's another test of the multitasking.
Looks like he's going for those widow mines again.
Yeah, it looks like he's doing the same thing. I'm not sure if you noticed, but he was doing the same thing where he dropped a widow mine and 6 Marines right here. So it looks like that's just his practice build. That's what he likes to do, and it's working out well for him. Same reason we have this spore here again. Let's see if he was able to get any workers killed. Yeah, it looks like he killed 10 workers so far. So he was able to get a good amount of damage done.
And here comes the Mulisks. Because he's got that spire, right? That's what he's going for, is probably the Mulisks?
I do not see a spire yet.
Was it not that?
This is a baneling nest. So right now what's going to be going on, we see a roach warren and a baneling nest. So this is actually going to be a giant attack. There's going to be a lot of banelings, as you can see here. Ooh, and actually it looks like he has the thing that we're talking about. Right, so when you see these little dots, that means that these overlords can carry units. So these overlords have banelings inside them. So they're basically sort of like bombers now.
Oh.
So this is going to be a big attack. And those widow mines did not get called down time. This one is down in time. Ooh, that was a big explosion. There's another big explosion. Looks like he is going to be able to defend it, but still has to micro there. Now he's dropping the banelings on top of these units, but it looks like Cyrus is still going to be able to defend this. And this was a big attack that sacrificed a lot of economy. And looks like Muffin is going all out for us. He's building 32 Zerglings right now, and he just wants to kill Cyrus right now. Cyrus already has a third base. He has these widow mines down. There's 3 widow mines right now. More on the way. And it looks like Cyrus is going to contain this attack, but Muffin's going to keep going for it. We do see this creep spreading out here. He's not taking the time right now to keep spreading this creep because he is focusing on this attack.
Because he's hoping this will end it.
Yeah, this is what we call an all-in. This doesn't work, then he's done. And that is because he simply does not have the economy. He invested everything that he had into this attack. So right now we see that he has 27 harvesters. And the reason that they count is so low is not because so many were killed, rather because instead of building harvesters, he built a lot of attack units. And that attack did not work, so he did not see a way that he could win the game, so he went ahead and GG'd out of there.
So that's the end of Muffin Man then.
Yeah, that's the end.
So that's Cyrus.
Well, he can still come back out through the losers bracket.
That is true. So he's got 2 victories, and now the person in the losers bracket can come back and go get
Right,
Cyrus.
so it looks like Cyrus is going to be in the finals, and now we're just going to have to wait and see who's going to be.
So you could
fighting
be in the
beside
finals then.
I'm already out of the loser bracket, too.
Oh, wow.
Nah.
Well, that's okay. You know, at least you had fun, right? Did you
Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Okay, cool. Okay, so this is Caesar. He's here with me. I'm John. We're here for Split Screen for KBVR, new TV show that's just all about video games, video game knowledge, video game information, just getting OSU and a couple of the surrounding cities just involved with the world of gaming. I mean, we're big people now, right? Like,
yeah, it's definitely a lot more gaming than there used to be. A lot more popular. It's a lot less. There's a lot less negative stigma associated with it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like even like there are girls that are finally coming out of the.
Yeah, finally.
What do gamer girls come out of? I don't think it's a closet. Maybe a
bathroom.
Futon. Maybe
Maybe
they can come out of the futon into the world of gaming. Who knows? Okay, so anyway, I'm here with Caesar. We just got done with the semifinals, Mufaman versus Cyrus. Cyrus just took the floor, and we're waiting for the losers bracket to finish so that we can show you the finals. So I'd like to thank you again, Caesar, for coming in,
Yeah, no problem.
helping me out, explaining everything that's going on, and who knows, maybe we'll get to see you at one of the couch specials for during the show, or have you as a guest, or see you again.
All right.
All right. So that's once again is John Fosdick with Split Screen for KBVR. We are down here at OSU at the ballroom for the Let the Land. No, that's incorrect.
Let there be land.
Let There Be Land 5, Winter 2014. Yeah, that's what we're doing, and that's
LAN party.
Yeah, we're at LAN party too.
LAN party.
We're just having a good time. All right, so
It's a good song too.
what, LAN party?
Good, having a good time.
Oh, yeah. Also, good song. All right, so we are out of here. Thanks, guys.